Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast. My name is Catherine Zinkina, and I'm a manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. If you're looking to massively up-level your life, your finances, your relationships, your productivity and success, then you have come to the right place. My goal in this podcast is to help you see the infinite potential within yourself to be, do, and have anything that your heart desires. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of mindset development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going. Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategies, and teachings that you need to manifest a reality wilder than your wildest dreams. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today, and now let's begin. Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome back to the Manifestation Babe podcast. I hope you're having an amazing day whenever this podcast airs, whatever time of day it is. I hope that you are doing so well. I wanted to first preface this episode with two facts. Number one, I am just now overcoming a cold that I picked up from my husband in New York. So if my voice is a little raspy or it sounds like I have mucus in my throat, it's because I do. And I just wanted to apologize for that. And also, you might hear 4 little feet getting super excited and running around. So maybe in the background, you might hear a dog. And if you hear a dog, that is correct because I am currently being a babysitter. Or I was about to say a dog mom, but I'm not being a dog mom. I'm being a dog babysitter and currently looking after our integrator of Team MB, Londa's baby. And he is just so cute and actually has a lot to do with this episode. So just letting you know that if you hear a couple things that, yes, I am sick. And number 2, yes, there's a dog. So today's episode is titled Stop Choosing to Suffer Alone. And this is a really big one because I noticed that all of you strong, independent women out there, or maybe you're a man, constantly refuses and struggles to ask for help. Let me know if that's you because that is definitely me. I've always been an independent soul and I've always figured out everything on my own. I've become brilliant at self-coaching myself. In fact, I actually struggle with hiring coaches because I don't ever reach out to them when I actually need them. I usually, we have sessions when it's time to have a session. And usually when we have a session, everything is good in my life. And when things are not good, for some reason, I've always struggled to say, hey, I need help, or hey, I'm struggling today. Can we do a coaching session? And I know this makes 0 sense, and I am still trying to figure out where it comes from. But I've always prided myself in being independent and that I don't need anyone and that I can figure everything out on my own. And I've always struggled for help. And this is obviously a problem because as human beings, we crave connection and we can actually solve our problems so much faster if we tell someone that we are struggling and that we need help. And it is mind-blowing what the human mind will do to you because the ego will always continue to convince you that you don't need help, which is crazy. And this really was reflected in my journey around breast implant illness. So obviously I've released 2 episodes now around me, self-diagnosing myself with breast implant illness, going through a surgery and coming out on the other side, and how I had some feedback from some not very nice people that I was over-exaggerating every symptom that I expressed to you and that I wasn't really suffering, because if I would, you would all know because I would be talking about it on social media. But I think that this episode is a reflection of that no, I chose to suffer in silence because this is a pattern that I get myself into. And you will just never know. Never know. My friends never know. My family never knows. It is usually Brennan who always knows. And the whole inspiration behind this podcast has to do with something that Brennan did, because if it wasn't for Brennan, you guys would just never know if I'm struggling, because I choose not to talk about it. I choose to be someone who is always trying to lift you up and lift others up. And for some reason, I'm just being completely honest and transparent and vulnerable here. I feel like I don't want to be the person to drag other people down, because I feel like there's so many negative influences out there already. There's so many people out there who are already moping and already complaining and already bitching that I don't want to add to that. I don't want to be a drag in someone else's life, because my mission, almost to a fault, is to constantly uplift others. And I don't know if you can relate to this. And I'm assuming that if you are anything like me, you're in an independent spirit, you are a powerful woman, and you are a positive influence in other people's lives, that you can probably relate to this. And yesterday was one of those days where I just wanted to mope on my own and I didn't ask for help, and I felt completely helpless. And I want to say, after about 10 a.m., when I recorded a podcast episode yesterday, and I did some of the work that I needed to do, had some conversations that I needed to have, my lovely time of the month kicked in, and I just like went down into the tunnel, down into the depths of the rabbit hole, right? Of being mopey and just not wanting to do anything and not wanting to talk to anyone and just struggling and suffering on my own. And it turned out that all the way up until dinner time, I just sat there, like just so helpless, almost like I was sitting there and waiting for the feeling to pass, like sometimes that works, right? But it's only effective if you wait long enough. And how many of us have time to even wait that long? No one has a week to just sit there and just hope that external circumstances will change or your hormones will finally change. And then all of a sudden, oh, life is good again. Because I know you and we have so many lives to impact. We have so much life to live, and life is so beautiful. There's so much to enjoy out there. We don't have time to sit around for a week. And my team, thanks to my husband, my team and my best friends taught me a very important lesson. And I actually have goosebumps right now. I'm getting a little teary-eyed, because the lesson really is that we don't have to suffer alone. And the moment we choose to stop suffering alone is the moment we transform whatever it is that we're going through. And even if it has nothing to do with any problem, except for you just feel mopey that day, you just feel down, you just feel off, you just feel low. And it doesn't have to be for any reason. So yesterday around 6:00, Brennan finally forced me out of the house for dinner. And when I say force, you guys, first of all, I wasn't hungry. I was bloated. I really didn't want to go anywhere. I felt like nothing was fitting me right. And just all my clothes is dirty and I just had nothing to wear. And I was like, Brennan, I do not want to go anywhere. I just want to sit here and watch. I was actually watching a brilliant, amazing interview. If you guys have Netflix, go watch Dave Letterman's new show and watch how he interviews Ellen DeGeneres, which is such a beautiful interview. There's an interview with Obama that I actually really enjoyed. And there's just so many interviews with brilliant people. And it really did uplift me and put me into a good mood, because when you take the focus off of you and put it onto someone else, in the sense that you are listening to someone else's story, or again, connecting with someone else, or you are helping someone or serving someone, when you are connected to someone else, all of a sudden you no longer have space. You no longer have energy to just sit and mope. But anyway, Brennan really forced me out of the house, and I was just so not feeling it. And for some reason, my intuition was telling me that Brennan has some surprise up his sleeve, because he was kept saying, we have to be there by 6:00. We have to be there by 6:00. And I'm like, where are we going? I don't want to go anywhere. And we were in the elevator going down. And the moment that the elevator opened in our lobby, my best friends were downstairs and they yelled surprise, which completely just immediately uplifted me, because when I saw their faces, I just knew that it was going to be a good time. And They are some of my most amazing friends. One of them was actually, well, this is so funny. This is how intertwined my world is. One of them was the videographer for our last Bali retreat, not the one that we just recently had, but last year. The other friend is his girlfriend, and also now a part of Team MB. She's actually our copywriter. So if you're reading the show notes, as you're listening to this episode, she wrote those. And she always listens to my podcast episodes and just makes sure that she can extract some content out of it or any quotes or anything like that. But anyway, they were downstairs and it immediately shifted me. And Brennan was like, go ride with them in the car because we have a 2-seater car. So it's either me and Brennan or I can go in their car and ride with them. And I just started blabbering, you guys. I had all of a sudden so much to say, so much to catch them up on. They had so much to catch me up on. And we're just going back and forth. And I literally forgot all of the things that I was stressed out about or moping about. And it was just so much fun. And we had dinner. And then after dinner, they said, let's go over to our house. And I said, no, guys, come over to our house because, again, I wasn't hungry, so I didn't eat dinner. And I knew that I would get hungry later. And we just went grocery shopping and had a ton of snacks in my house. And they were just so adamant on going to their house. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, fine. And we make it over to their house and they end up, actually, Zach, the videographer, he filmed our wedding and our wedding video was finally done. And they turned on their screen and showed us our wedding video. And that immediately lifted me up to an even higher level and just cheered me up and just reminded me of how much I had to be grateful for in my life and how blessed I am and how beautiful life is. And again, it snapped me out. And I'm sure you're noticing a trend right now, but this is literally just coming from me being forced to not suffer alone. And not even like I have to bring my problems to people or you even have to mention anything. It's just being in the presence of another human being. All of a sudden, that connection happens and you no longer feel alone. And when you no longer feel alone, all of a sudden, it's not just you and your ego reminding you of all of those negative thoughts that you have about yourself. All of a sudden, you're focused on someone else and you're focused on what you guys are doing and you're focused on how can I tell them a story to make them happy? How can I connect with them? How can I do this? How can we laugh together? Let's watch this funny video. We ended up going on YouTube and watching funny videos and it was just really, really fun. And then here's the kicker. Next thing I know, I'm being taken to our integrator, Londa's house, who's also another one of our best friends. And I'm so blessed to have a team that's like a family and friendship and a team all rolled into one. And Londa decides to let her dog, so as I said, there's a dog in my house right now, AKA my godson, his name is Pee-wee, sleep over at our place, which just shocked me. I was like, whose idea was this? I'm like, how did Brennan force this to happen? Like, how did Brennan convince you to give up your baby so that he could sleep at our house with us? And I am the biggest dog lover on this planet. When I don't have a dog in my presence, I will go through my phone and actually scroll down my family's group chats. Like when you can hit, when you go to a chat on an iPhone, you can hit the attachments button, like there's an information button and then it shows all of the pictures and documents and whatever images that have ever been sent in that group chat. And I will just go scrolling down and actually look at dog videos all the time. My parents' dogs, my mother and father-in-law's dogs, right? Brennan's parents' dogs. And I'm just always searching for dogs. I love dogs, if you can't already tell. And so this made me so happy. Like it just brought like by the end of the night, I was high vibing. I was so happy. It's like I never felt crap before in my entire life. It was a complete state shift, like as if I was that happy all day long. And guess what the only shifter was, is I let other people help me. By the way, if you can hear knocking right now outside, I'm so sorry. I don't want to stop recording this. I just want to keep going and flow, but I have some construction going outside right now of my apartment downstairs. Even though I'm on the 9th floor, like you can still hear it. So my apologies. But I learned such a valuable lesson that we are not meant to be alone and that sometimes we can be independent to a fault. And we are connection seeking creatures. It is built into our DNA and we thrive off of the support of one another. And there are people out there who want to help you. And I saw it inside of my friends' eyes. I saw it inside of my team's eyes, my husband's eyes, that they want to give to me. Like it was my job to just receive and to just be and not constantly be the problem solver in people's lives, not constantly have to be the strong one and the one that inspires people and the one that makes others happy. Like I could be pissed off and receive for once in my life, right? Every now and then it is okay to receive. And when you think about it, when you switch the perspective, think about when you are helping someone else and you're giving to someone else and you're connecting with someone else and you're serving someone else, you are actually giving to them. And in order for you to completely and fully give and serve someone else, they have to be the receivers. And so imagine if you're trying to help someone all of those times, because I know who you are, right? I know you. You're trying to help someone else and they just like won't let you. And they just resist and they're like, no, F you, I'm fine. Then we don't feel fulfilled. And then we suffer, they keep suffering, and it is not serving anyone anymore. And when you deny support, guys, you deny someone else's gift to you. You deny someone of giving. You deny someone of helping, which is one of the most fulfilling feelings someone can have, right? And it goes both ways. And sometimes we have to open up that channel for both ways, both directions. And so yesterday really inspired this podcast episode. In fact, I have so many episodes lined up for this week. I just have so many exciting stories to share with you on lessons. And I want to start talking more about business and my beliefs in business and how to manifest the business of your dreams, because that's what you guys were asking me for when I asked, what would you like to see on the podcast? But this had to come through because this is so fresh and it was so inspired by yesterday. And from this point forward, you guys, I actually hired 2 coaches recently, and I am just choosing to stop suffering alone because there's too many amazing people in my life that I can lean on when I need to lean on them, and I will no longer feel bad about it. And there's nothing to feel guilty of anymore. This is what we're all here for. We're all one together. And an emotion that you have felt, I have also felt before. An emotion that someone else has felt, like we're all human beings. And if it is true that the spiritual principle, the law of oneness is 100% fact, that we are all connected and we are all one, there's not a single challenge that you've ever had that I probably haven't had either. Maybe not in the exact same way, but perhaps a very similar way. And there's not a single thought that you had before that I haven't had before. And so we can help each other. And, sometimes you have so much pride when really you're not doing anyone a favor by always trying to be the strong friend. And so to my strong friends out there, reach out for help when you need it. I know we're the last people to do so, but please, 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 please do not let your ego convince you otherwise. Tap into your higher self, because your higher self is immediately and automatically connected with everyone else's higher selves. And that's the key right there, is that egos are always disconnected. Egos are on their own. They're independent. They're separated. They're divisive. I say they, even though it's really part of us, like we have that duality within us, but it's that part of you that convinces you that you need to go through everything alone, when your higher self is already immediately connected with everyone in one and in love and in joy. And it has no pride, absolutely has no pride. And so by doing so, by reaching out for help, you will cut down the time you spend stressing out by something by tenfold. And That is so true because I woke up this morning feeling so amazing. And if I would have just kept moping in bed yesterday, then I would not feel this amazing today and I would not be so inspired to sit here. And now that I have received, you guys, I want you to notice this. Now that I have received, now I'm giving back to you. And now it's your turn as you're listening to my words to receive as well. And once you have received, via this podcast from me, now you can go help someone else. And this is how it works. And if we're just on our own here and we're all so independent or we're too good to be helped, then no one's receiving, no one's giving, and then what the frick is the point? So I hope this episode helped you. I'm curious if it resonated with you. If it did, please go ahead and screenshot this episode, tag me on Insta Story, and share with me your biggest aha moment or your takeaway, or let me know if this helped. Let me know if you can relate to what I'm saying. And also, I am still giving a thank you gift to everyone who leaves a review, screenshots the review on iTunes, and sends it to my team to hello@manifestationbabe.com. And if you screenshot your review, send it over to us. We are going to give you a thank you gift in exchange for helping this podcast reach the right listeners. Because the more reviews we have, the more downloads we have, the more listeners we have, the more this podcast reaches others. And this podcast, of course, is 100% free content. It is just my way of giving in between my launches. It is my way of sharing with you. It is my way of teaching you what I've learned, what I know, my truth. And I would so appreciate, and I'm so grateful for any help in allowing this podcast to reach more people. So obviously want to say thank you to you. So go ahead and email us after you have left a review, and we'll send you a free manifestation hypnosis, which is so good. It's only 10 minutes long. You listen to it before you go to bed, and it helps you bring into your life whatever it is that you desire by helping you reprogram your mind. And it's really, really good. And I want to make sure you have it. So go ahead and do that. And I will see you in the next episode. Have a fantastic, fantastic day or night, wherever in the world you are. Mwah. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming your way. If you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up the extra inspiration on Instagram by following @manifestationbabe or visiting my website at manifestationbabe.com. I love and adore you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and manifest some magic.